Welcome back, everybody, where it's a great day to not be a turkey.
Or a rabbit.
Yeah, let's just dive into that. So I'm just, scrolling through the Instagrams, and here's Paul with a baby rabbit in his hands.
It's a pretty good sized rabbit. It was,
Yeah.
This thing could jump, dude. It jumped up on my shoulder at one point, and I thought, this is it. He's going to get out of here. But then he jumped the wrong way from there.
And so why did you have a baby rabbit on your shoulder?
So we have these, I don't know what you call them. There's a set of windows that's below the ground in the cellar, and it's obviously to let light into the cellar, but it's also to, let you get out, which it's going to be difficult because it's 6 feet into the ground, and I have a hard time getting out of there without any help, like without a little stair or something. I don't, My wife's looked at it and be like, if there's a fire, I'm going to die right here because there's no way I can get out of this hole. But I guess over the, and the cellar was redone in that area, before we ever moved here. So I guess animals have fallen in there a lot over the years. And now that we're here, we have the ability to rescue them. So my daughter has this really funny video. I guess like a frog had gotten stuck down there a week or so ago, and it was going up the glass, and it was like, it kind of stretches out for some reason. So it's like, the frog's only like this big, but like stretched out, it's like 6 or 8 inches tall, and it's all, splayed on the glass. So the cats were kind of pawing at the glass, trying to get at it. It was kind of funny. But anyway, I had to go in the hole and rescue the frog. And then last night or at dinner time, whatever it was, Kelly comes upstairs. She goes, there's a rabbit stuck on the hole this time. Like, how big is it? And she's like, it's, medium size. I'm like, all right. So I grabbed the, like the work gloves you wear, like when you rake or whatever. So I think, I figured it'd bite me or whatever. Grabbed the ladder, went down into the hole. He was not happy to see me. It misconstrued the rescue attempt as a murder, maybe. Mm-hmm. So it was hopping around like a madman. Like it was, like I said, the thing didn't really jump. Like in a spastic jump, I mean, it kind of could probably have gotten out of there. It's like literally 6 feet in the ground.
Yeah.
Like a grave. But anyway, which it will be for some animal.
Was there just like a bunch of bones at the bottom of that thing, by the way?
Yeah, exactly right. It's like a cow skeleton down there. No, thank God. But anyway, I finally did catch it. It's like the scene in Rocky where he's running around trying to catch a chicken. Like it's, except it's in a confined area. It's got to be like 6 feet by 3 or 4 feet or whatever it is. It's not a very big area, but man, that thing did not want to get caught.
Well,
but I caught it. Yeah, I let it go.
Can't
I should have said I rescued a rabbit. That would have been better.
You're just a firefighter in a tree saving a cat, but in a hole saving a bunny.
Reverse, right? Either that, or we have a death trap built into the side of our house, and I don't know why.
Have you seen your son lately? Maybe he's
yeah, exactly.
Just down on one of those.
Well, my dad did all the stupid stuff in my house, so like he's the person responsible for this bit of stupidity, and I don't know, Dad. Like, how about putting a door there and then have it go up like stairs? It's just a hole in the ground, So it's like this. A deer's gonna fall in there and snap a leg or something, and we're really gonna be in trouble.
But please let me know when that happens, because I will fly up there to watch you.
Jeez, just extricate this animal, it's gonna kick me to death with its remaining leg.
Imagine you in a hole with a deer would be.
It's just priceless.
Yeah.
So we gotta cover this thing. We have smaller holes in other windows, like there are normal cellar type windows around the building, but they have little covers on them. This one, because it was custom made, there's no cover, and really got to rectify that. Maybe put like a plastic clear cover so you can still get the light.
Well, that just turns it into a microwave.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's right. It's gonna be like a terrarium down there. I don't know, dude. It's just no good solution to this problem.
Is that roast rabbit? What is that smell?
Yeah, exactly.
It smells delicious.
Why does it smell like a jungle?
You know what you could put down in the bottom of that hole, Paul? It's a Pixel 3.
Steaks. A what?
Pixel 3.
And then I could light it on fire.
Well, it might add some new features that are working.
Mary Jo contacted me this morning to tell me that her Pixel 3 is working fine. And I said, let me tell you a little story about cancer.
We're not going down this hole.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so there's more issues with the Pixel 3. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on this week.
But what's going on with you? We didn't do a podcast yesterday.
Yeah. I was actually. This is. I was delayed a little bit. It's might be kind of hard to see. Is this like a city in the clouds? No, that's actually just really low. Well, it's fog. It was very foggy in Washington D.C. yesterday. It was a very good trip. It was kind of brutal. I mean, I woke up at about 3:45 in the morning, flew to D.C., landed in D.C. at 7:15 a.m., and then I was back home. I got home at about 6 p.m. Like walking through my door, and I had full intentions of just editing the book, and I laid down on the rug, and my daughter started reading to me, and I was just out.
Yeah. Well, sure. I think reader or listeners or viewers, whatever they are, of this podcast and who are familiar with our interactions will appreciate the fact that Brad on Thursday or Friday, I don't remember what day, kind of said something to me like, hey, I won't be taking a look at the book again until Monday. I thought, fantastic. I took the weekend off. I did whatever I did. And then Monday he gets up and he's like, dude, if you could get some of this done today, that'd be great. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I guess what you meant was I could thus take control of it, and I could have been working on it over the weekend. But
I think you've done fine. You're several chapters
I made up for it.
Me.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I think I'm almost. Where am I now? I'm on
I think you're halfway or more than halfway.
I'm literally halfway through my second pass, right? Which is, as you would imagine, is going much more quickly than the first pass. But yeah, I got to say, I've thought a lot about this notion of kind of following this up somehow. I think there's some interesting conversations that you and I could have, perhaps, or
sure.
Whatever, and I don't know what form that takes, but this is it's I've said this a few times, I guess, but it's an interesting period and an interesting.
Sure, there was a lot going on, and then I didn't really layer it all together. Like there's like a nice little sandwich of just kind of shit things going on for Microsoft, all right at the same time. And it wasn't until I was writing, I was like, oh god, so they're building this hardware, and then they have that's going on, and then they're launching this OS that's going to be a train wreck.
Yeah. There's also some stuff, there's a bunch of stuff that kind of failed around that time. The Xbox One was launched as an entertainment console, and that went nowhere fast. Windows Phone obviously imploded. The Microsoft Band went nowhere, And Microsoft, when they started Surface, Brad, let me tell you something about Surface. You might not know this. No, they, as related in Brad's book, it was kind of an Apple play, right? They wanted it to be the tablet for everybody, so it was going to be like consumers and entertainment tasks as well as productivity. And eventually, of course, they pivot around something a little smarter. And success occurred. And I think that's the thing that's interesting about Surface. Ultimately, is that it was successful, and it took them 3 tries. Which is the old Microsoft thing. Although I don't think that means anything.
It happened once.
They made important changes. Whatever, but. It's anyway. I know I'm going on, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's an interesting story. It's
Mary Jo read it, and she quite liked it. She read the whole thing in a day, which
that's crazy.
Yeah, but to her point, she said that's a good thing because she didn't want to stop reading it. It's a bad thing because in theory, if you want to read this whole thing in a day, I mean, I guess it's possible. It's a lot of. That's
Listen,
a lot.
If you
for
could
one
just
day.
You show the book to people who are in it, you'll find that the reviews are going to be fantastic.
That is
like 5 stars. I'm in chapter 5. It's fantastic.
Yes. Chapter 5 is the highlight of the book right there. There you go. Mentioned by Mr. Paul the Rat. So, anyways.
No, but it's
yeah, I'm quite happy with it. It's I'm going to be real happy because then we can stop talking about it on the podcast. Although that probably won't ever happen.
But like I said, maybe we don't. I mean, there might be some follow-ups that are in order. You probably still have most of these devices in your house for some reason. I have my own memories of these events, and I have my archives, which are kind of interesting. The thing that kind of brought us together was the Surface 2 stuff, and it was Mary Jo, really. But we had both had some information about that launch. We both had kind of cryptic conversations with Panos after the fact, where he kind of intimated to me that there was what he kind of said was sort of an internal conspiracy to sink Surface and wanted to know who was involved. It's like, dude, I can't help you with that.
Yep.
Yes, I can. Call me.
Uh, so,
Yeah.
anyways, that I'm almost positive it's going to launch a week from Thursday. So, a week from Thanksgiving, because I think we're on the path to have it done by, gosh, Wednesday night at midnight. And
Yeah. A lot of fit and finish stuff. It's hard. Like I message. I think I'd gone through 5 chapters yesterday, and then I suddenly realized just a formatting thing that it was a mistake I could possibly have introduced. And I was like, like, damn it, like, and this is the type of thing. Like books are tough because of these kinds of issues for many reasons. But I mean, there's just a lot of little nitpicky kind of I don't know, formatting things.
well,
So, anyway.
for when somebody does inevitably find a grammar issue or whatever in the book, because I guarantee there will be some.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell them that Panos got 3 tries, and so do I.
Nice.
So
I thought you were going to say, well, Paul edited it twice, so clearly it's well.
no. We get 3 revisions to get it right. That's
Okay.
so. Anyways, that's going on. There's not going to be a whole lot of stuff this week. I mean, it's a holiday week. If you're going to be buying stuff, probably a lot of people are going to be doing that Friday. Oh, the Lenovo Smart Display review.
Yeah. It's funny. We have used Google Home in the kitchen primarily, but there's one out in the sunroom. There's one out in the living room as well. Voice control of audio, obviously, but just for all the stuff you would imagine. My wife listens to her, podcasts and her
Sure.
whatever she listens to, when she cooks and stuff. And I go, this just today, for example, I went out and was cooking breakfast, and I continued listening to the audiobook I listened to. And the smart display has kind of replaced that device in the kitchen because it has a display, and it's basically a superset of the Google Home. So it does everything those devices do. So you want to do all the voice stuff, that all works, but it has that interactive display. And it just on that, the stuff you can do with that, the recipes, we can kind of step through them or watch videos or whatever it might be, makes it kind of compelling. There was a change that happened this week as well that's not in my review, where Google added the ability to add video-based Chromecasts, Google Home devices, and smart displays like the Lenovo to whole house audio groups, which is something that was not possible before. And so I actually threw that on today. So I have speakers in the living room, speakers in my office, speakers in the sunroom, and then we have I still have a Google Home in there for no good reason, but a Google Home and a smart display in the kitchen. And so I added those two to the group. And when you play music, it literally now plays everywhere in the house. And so that's kind of cool. But
Yeah.
I think the thing that puts this thing over the top is the other feature Google added since that thing launched, which is the ability to have these live albums that uses Google AI to find people's faces and also animals' faces if you want to add pets. And it's magical because anyone who uses Google Photos will tell you that, and it's just astonishing, especially if you have kids who've grown up like I do. Google Photos can look at photos of my son, for example, Mark, who's 20, and say, that's Mark. That person at age 13 is Mark. That person at age 3 is Mark. It knows Mark through his entire life. So it's not all recent photos of Mark. It's photos of Mark throughout his life and photos of Kelly throughout her life and my wife and I, and also the pets because the kids love the pets, whatever. But these are the pictures that come up, and a lot of them are, like in France or in some trip we went on or some family event like a birthday party or whatever it might be. And I know that doesn't sound like a new thing, but it has kind of transformed it into being kind of a nicety, like a slightly nicer home with a screen, into this thing that my family, everyone, will come into the kitchen and just look at, and it will often generate a discussion about what's in the photo. Because, like you probably, we have these favorite photos that we've collected over the years.
Yep.
And if you were to look at, like, say, a trip to Paris one year, there might be 3 or 10 or 15 photos that we really like and we're very familiar with because I put them in a folder at one point and they're kind of favorites. But it's not just taking those things, right? It's doing all kinds of photos. So it's like these pictures, like, oh man, like I don't remember this picture at all, but I can tell that's this place, and I know from the way the kids are aged or dressed, they're whatever age they are, and it's triggering like memories and discussions, and it's really cool just for that.
That's the primary reason I want to get a Google Home. I mean, Google Photos is, I think, probably one of the best things that Google does. They do a very good job at it.
Yep. the way I kind of worded it was, there's all kinds of technology in this house, and most of it's ignored by most of the people who live in this house. And there are things like my son's really interested in video games and things like that, so that stuff is of interest to him. But for the most part, Kelly has her phone and she watches the TV, and my wife does her couple of little things, but nobody really cares about most of what goes on. Like, we've done a bunch of smart light stuff, and they're like, like whatever. And this thing is just, it's been universally like, it just sucks people. Right? People come out, like my sister and my brother-in-law will come over. Their kids come over because they're in there too, because it's, pictures with my kids in them too, and their kids. And everyone's like, that's, it's just amazing. It's just for the reason that any photo slideshow of yourself would be amazing, I guess. But I mean, I think it's partially amazing just because of the AI part of it. Like, it's doing it automatically.
Yeah.
And it's so good at it, It's just neat.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the crux of Google Photos. It's just kind of neat. It's creepy on some levels, I guess, if you're into that, if you're not into that sort of stuff. But for digging out the good stuff, it really does a good job. What I just
described was facially recognizing my child as a 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. A little creepy.
Yep.
It's kind of cool, though.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah. It's Google in a nutshell right there.
And as far as we know, until there's a giant hack, it's all private, right? Google clearly uses this for training, but it's not like people can go search Mark, age 3, Paul Thurrott, and it's not going to surface those photos. At least we don't think so.
I would hope that nobody listening is now trying that search, but probably not. I mean, there are obviously some public photos of Mark out in the world, but I hope so.
Yep. You got anything else for today, Mr. Thurrott, on this quiet turkey trotting week?
No, I'm going to try to bang out hardware reviews over the long weekend. What are our plans? What are we doing for the podcast here? Is this
the all she wrote for the week?
Up to you. I mean, I told Mahedi, who probably doesn't understand Thanksgiving, that this week would be rather half-hearted on our behalf. So,
yeah. I mean, unless something big happens in the next 24 hours, this might be all of it until next week. Yeah. Because, I don't know, Friday I'm actually going to, I'll probably be home, but there's no need to do it Friday. There's going to be nothing Thursday other than just stories of people getting mobbed to save $3 on a fan at Walmart. And
actually, I do have one thing. This is happening today at noon, so assuming you can hold on to this for 40 minutes, because we're recording this at 11:20. We can include this in today's show. I got contacted by YubiKey, weeks ago, a long time ago, about the new 502 compatible devices, the little keys they have like this guy here. And today, Microsoft is going to announce that these things are compatible with Windows, with the Microsoft account, and with Windows Hello and Windows 10 PCs. So what you basically do is you can actually see this interface now. Before the announcement, it went up over the weekend, but if you go up to the Microsoft account website, Security Advanced, whatever, in addition to setting up app passwords and other security controls, they have the ability to use a hardware key, and they have a little ways you can kind of step through, and then you can use it with your finger on the button here to log into your account on any computer without using a password ever. And so you may recall Microsoft a couple of years ago was talking about eliminating the password and kind of having that goal. And here's maybe the most concrete step in that direction. Obviously, this introduces its own little level of complexity for people because it's a thing, and also you can see this one happens to be USB, full-size USB, right? It's probably USB 3 or whatever, but they have a USB-C version. They have an NFC version. They have some other versions I'm probably not remembering. So there's that aspect to it, but I assume as this security protocol is implemented across devices and platforms, it's possible you could have I have this thing on my keychain. I can use NFC to sign into my phone. I don't ever have to, I know your phone has fingerprints and blah, 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 whatever. But I mean, as far as just getting it going for the first time or whatever, you should never have to. It's possible we may never have to deal with passwords again going forward, at least not with Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of neat, and it's it's just another option and gives you more flexibility. Yeah. So it's hard to put that one down.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's kind of cool.
Well, Mr. Threat, I hope you enjoy your turkey and all that good stuff, and the final revisions of the book. And I guess we'll be back here next week unless something major happens.
Sounds good.
All right. Have yourselves a good one, everybody, and we'll catch you on Monday.